I have just arrived in Uganda and already I am surrounded by spectacular scenery. It's teeming with incredible bird life and there are animals absolutely everywhere, most of which are thriving here. But as I take you on this safari through Uganda, you'll see that sadly that's not the case for all the animals that live here. And hopefully on this journey I can shed some light as to the problems that they're facing, but also shed some light on the conservation stories that are a success here. So come with me as I take you through Uganda. So this is day one and I've arrived at Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. This place was started in 2005 with just 6 rhinos, and to date there are now 36 southern white rhinos here, so it's a real conservation success story. So this is my guide Max. He's also a ranger here at the Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary, and we are off to find the southern white rhino. So join us as we go on an adventure to hopefully find them. I mean, I can't wait. Do you think we'll see them?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Come with us. Come on, Max. Let's go. Wow, this pile of dung is a real find. It might look like a load of shit, but actually it's a major communication center, not only to me to tell me I'm on the right path to find the southern white rhinos, but also to other rhinos. So females will drop their dung and then male rhinos will come along and sniff it, and from that it will be able to tell which females are in season, because the dung actually smells different for those that are in season and those that aren't, which is absolutely incredible. And another source of communication is the fact that male rhinos will drop their dung and then they will stomp their feet in it so that the scent is still on its feet, and then walk to mark their territory as a warning to other male rhinos to stay away who might want to encroach on their females. Because if he does, then he better be strong enough to fend him off, because it will be a major fight. And the other communication tool that this represents is if a young rhino gets separated from its mother. If a calf can't find her, then it can sniff the dung, find the most recent dung droppings, and then hopefully make its way back to its mother. So it serves many purposes and is not just a pile of shit. And this dung, I'm going to put my hand in it, which might seem gross, but it's not. It is really, really coarse, because rhinos are non-ruminants, which means they don't regurgitate their food another time. It just is eaten once and passes through, so it's full of grass and very, very coarse. So There's a lot of it too, because these creatures can consume 80 to 100 kg of food every single day, which produces these colossal droppings and dung balls, which can weigh up to 25 kilograms, which is really heavy, and that is one hell of a dump. So let's go, I'm on the right route. So we're trekking through the savannah and we've come across a sausage tree of all things, and yes, it really is called a sausage tree, and this is the sausage fruit. Now this is actually used by locals to treat dysentery and high blood pressure. So they cut the fruit down, cut it into pieces, boil it in water and then drink it. So it has medicinal purposes. Now in times gone by, in the eastern part of the country where black rhinos used to exist in Uganda, but they haven't done of course since 1983, then they are a fond lover of this fruit and they would eat it and of course disperse its seeds. But we're not going to see any black rhinos anywhere in Uganda of course, because they are now wiped out, but we will see white rhinos, southern white rhinos, and they don't appreciate this fruit. So oh well, it's good to look at and a great find. As you can see, it's quite swampy in this part of the savannah, and that's because the soil is a mixture of clay and loam, so the drainage is not great, which is why we might be getting in over our boots soon, but just have to take it very slowly in case there's some deep patches and it goes over my wellies, which I don't want to get my feet wet. There is so much to see along the way, and the vegetation tells a story of the animals of the savannah, past and present.
So the tree we are seeing, it's called Brussels palm tree. So it bears fruits which are yellowish whenever it gets ready. And where you will see a lot of Brussels palms existing, it reflects that long ago that used to be the corridor for the elephants, because the elephants are the major seed dispersal for the Brussels palm. Because whenever they find that a Brussels palm fruit is ready, they will get under it, they put their trunk in the Brussels palm tree, they shake the tree. So all the fruits will get down, and whenever they will be eating, since the elephants have got incomplete digestive system, they will carry it, and whenever they are defecating, they will defecate the seed of the Brussels palm, and whenever it rains, the fruits, the seed itself germinates, which will make more and more of the Brussels palms to grow in an area. So if you go to areas like Murchison Falls National Park, you will find a lot of Brussels palm tree. Kibale Forest National Park, you'll find a lot of them. Reason being, that is an area where the elephants are existing up to date.
The Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary allows cattle and goats to graze on these grasslands to keep the grass short for the rhinos so they can all enjoy it together and browse in absolute unity. It's really lovely to see nature all working together. This cattle with the very long horns is called Ankole longhorn cattle, and they are very common here in Uganda, but really striking. We were getting close to where the rhinos were last spotted, so I made sure to stay behind my guide, but the anticipation was growing and I was so excited. Then all of a sudden, there they were, right in front of us in all their magnificent glory. A truly fantastic moment. So we found them. We've come across the southern white rhino in this Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary, and it's absolutely incredible. They are right there. There's a mother with the calf, there's a male, and then there's another subordinate male right by the tree. This is a real find, and it's so exciting to be able to track these rhino on foot and get so close to these majestic creatures. Absolutely insane. Ceratotherium simum. The southern white rhino is right behind me. I cannot believe I am this close to them in the wild. That is wild. Absolutely incredible. They are majestic. And this is the only place in Uganda where you can see these endangered creatures in the wild, because these guys are really endangered. I think maybe I should move. White rhinoceros are grazers. Its wide, square upper lip is perfectly adapted for feeding on grass. The name of the white rhinoceros is derived from the Afrikaans word vid, describing its mouth meaning wide. However, early English settlers misinterpreted wide for white, hence how it is known today as the white rhinoceros. So, these are the guys that protect the southern white rhino here at Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. They're doing an amazing job. There's 78 of these guys with security guards, and there's 2-meter electric fences all around the park, so it can protect the rhinos from all predators, human and non-human. What's your name?
My name is Pius.
Pius. How long have you been here?
I've been here for the last 4 years.
4 years. What do you think?
I love it so much.
And how many rhinos have you seen in 4 years expand the population?
Well, so far as now we have 38.
38?
Yes.
And when you started, how many were there?
We had like 24.
24, wow. So
Yeah.
quite an increase in just 4 years.
Yes, because we're providing maximum security.
And hopefully the southern white rhino will then go into all the national parks in Uganda. I guess that's the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
But you're doing a good job, guys. Boom, boom. Save the rhino! So although you could say this is a conservation success story, the history of rhino in Uganda is anything but. It's actually quite a bleak history, because black and northern white rhinos were indigenous to Uganda, but because of poaching, armed human conflict and habitat destruction, they were completely wiped out by 1983. Absolutely devastating. But as you can see, Uganda is well on its way to hopefully reintroducing its southern white rhino populations. So there is a biorescue project actually in place, because although the northern white rhino has now become functionally extinct because the last male northern white rhino died, called Sudan, in 2018. And so the biorescue project collects the oocytes, or immature egg cells, of the last 2 remaining northern white rhino females, Nyan and Fatu in Kenya, who are unable to reproduce, matures them in a lab, and fertilizes them with frozen and thawed sperm from deceased northern white rhino males. They have 22 embryos that are cryogenically frozen and will maybe be implanted into a southern white rhino as a surrogate. So they could be the mother surrogates of a whole new generation of northern white rhinos. It's amazing what science can do. So behind me I have Peepo, who is a sub-adult male. He's 2 years old, and his name means Lord increases, which is very unusual. Peepo was sent away by his mother when she was giving birth to a newborn calf, and he went on to become a member of this sub-adult group, formed of other rhinos in a similar situation. This allows them to all move as a group and offers them protection against breeding males. Breeding males are very territorial and very aggressive, so together they can make a stand and fight the males away. I mean, Peepo is right there. I mean, on camera it must look like I'm actually touching. That's incredible. That close. But I'm in safe hands with my ranger guide, as he knows all about the warning signs of rhino behavior.
White rhinos, if they want to attack you, they will not just run to you like that. They have, first of all of them will stop the activities that they are doing. They will stand and they point their ears on you. So the reason is that they first want to hear where the predator or the enemy is coming from. So after seeing that there's really something coming, what they do, they will start coiling their tail. And when they see that there is still something, they will start now showing, stamping on ground using their hind leg to show warning signs. And when they see that it is still there, they will start making steps. They make the first step ahead and backward, the second one, the third one, now they run towards you. That is why it is always very important for us in the field to keep on observing their behaviors. In case of anything like they're showing bad behaviors, we're able to know and we're able to disappear away from their sight, since they have got naturally poor eyesight. And you can see where their eyes are positioned. Their eyes are positioned in either side of the head. They are not like ours, which are in front of the head. All right, so they have got good sense of smell and hearing.
In the early 20th century, there were about 500,000 rhinos in Asia and Africa, according to the World Wildlife Fund. However, by 1970, rhino numbers had plummeted to just 70,000, and today, only around 27,000 rhinos remain in the wild. So to be part of all this, even just raising awareness, wow, I couldn't ask for more. This is day 2 of my Uganda safari, and I'm at Murchison Falls National Park, which is absolutely spectacular. Today is all about enjoying the bird life and the wildlife from Land Cruiser and from the water. So let's see what biodiversity this place has to offer, and I'm really looking forward to it. Murchison Falls is famously known as the most powerful waterfall in the world, where the Nile, the longest river in the world, squeezes through a 7-meter gap into a 45-meter drop. The falls drain the White Nile tributary into the Albert Nile and eventually pours water into Lake Albert. Murchison Falls National Park has spectacular scenery and a large biodiversity with a huge variety of plant and bird species, and 4 of the big 5 game animals, including lions. There are no cheetah in Murchison. They are almost exclusively in Kibale Valley National Park. Uganda is home to one of the most threatened subspecies of giraffe on the planet, the Nubian giraffe, classified as critically endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature due to a 95% population decline in the last 3 decades. In 2010, it was estimated that there were only 250 Nubian giraffes living in the native range in Murchison Falls National Park. Today, there are over 1,800, which is one of Uganda's best conservation success stories. Giraffe have gone extinct in 7 African countries. This is incredible to be so close to these Nubian giraffes, which are a subspecies of the northern giraffe or Uganda giraffe. Absolutely incredible. Murchison Falls National Park is home to 50% of Uganda's Nubian giraffes, which was formerly known as Rothschild's giraffe, but that has been assimilated into the Nubian giraffe group. This particular national park is called Giraffe's Paradise and is, as you can see, full of giraffes. I've got a tower of giraffes surrounding me, It's absolutely incredible. They're everywhere, absolutely everywhere. These particular giraffes are distinguished from the very brown and orange pattern on them, divided up by the beige, and it's very distinct, and you can really see how these giraffes differ from other giraffes, and you get to see this firsthand, and I can't believe I'm walking amongst them. So incredible. Giraffe pregnancy usually lasts about 15 months with 2-year intervals between births. Females reach sexual maturity between the ages of 5 and 7, and males between 7 and 8 years of age, and travel long distances to detect and investigate females receptive to mating. Nubian giraffes are the tallest of all giraffe subspecies. A newborn giraffe will suckle from its mother as soon as it can stand, and that's why they need to be so tall at birth. A calf will feed on their mother's milk for 9 to 12 months. They will start eating solid food, leaves, etc. from about 4 months, at which time they also start to ruminate. This means that they bring back their food from their special stomachs back into their mouths again to be able to chew their food several times to derive enough nutrients. Male calves leave their mothers at about 15 months and often join all male groups. Female juveniles, however, often stay in the same herd as their mothers. If they do leave, they leave at about 18 months old and often stay in the same area as the family herd they grew up in. The recent discovery of oil in the park and the fact that it's only separated from the Democratic Republic of Congo by the Nile, poaching and mainly snaring is a major threat to wildlife here, including giraffes. Giraffes are not necessarily the target species, but they are often collateral damage of wire traps. Vital monitoring and adapting to threats posed by oil exploration in the park are essential. I'm in Africa, walking amongst giraffe. It doesn't get any better than this. The cruise upriver to view Murchison Falls at the head of Fajeo Gorge has been the park's most popular attraction since 1950. Drifting gently along the Nile is also a fantastic way to discover and observe the biggest land mammals on the planet, the African elephant. Elephants are my absolute favourite animal, and I loved working with them, in particular with pygmy elephants in Borneo. In these videos, I hope to raise awareness and learn about the world's most endangered animals as I go, and I love being able to take you on that journey with me so that we can all spread the word, shift our consciousness and make a positive difference together. The African savanna elephant, Loxodonta africana, is listed as endangered on the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species. Due to an elephant's very low reproduction rate of 1 calf per female every 8.6 years, elephant populations recover far more slowly than other animals, with a maximum annual population growth of only about 6%. Murchison Falls is one of the hottest regions in Uganda, with temperatures ranging between 25 and 32 degrees centigrade, providing a wonderful opportunity to see these majestic beasts drink and cool off. Living in family groups of varying sizes and led by matriarchs, elephants can travel vast distances in search of water, with a mature individual consuming between 110 and 190 litres of water per day. Home ranges of these animals can span several hundred kilometres, playing an important role in the modification of ecosystems and creation of conditions suitable for the survival of many plants and animals. There are over 5,000 elephants in Uganda today, and over 1,000 can be found here in Murchison Falls National Park. Here, a Nile crocodile has its sights set on a waterbuck carcass being played with by a hippo. The hippo almost seems to be teasing the crocodile with it. Eventually, another hippo asserts its dominance, determined to get in on the action. And the crocodile will just have to wait a little longer. Hippos are amongst the most dangerous animals in the world due to their unpredictable nature. The Latin word hippopotamus is derived from the ancient Greek meaning river horse. These semi-aquatic mammals, native to sub-Saharan Africa, are threatened by habitat loss and poaching for meat, ivory in the form of canine teeth, and body parts. The International Union for the Conservation of Nature classifies the hippopotamus as vulnerable, meaning it is facing a high risk of extinction in the wild. International trading in hippo parts and products is significant in the United States, importing teeth, skin and meat, as well as belts, purses, western boots, knives and figurines, with only 115,000 adult hippos remaining in the wild in Africa. There are 91 antelope species on the planet, and Uganda is home to 29 species of antelope, and many can be found here in Murchison Falls National Park. The hartebeest, also known as the Canoe, is the only African antelope in the genus Alcelaphus. It has very obvious distinguishing features such as its elongated forehead and curiously shaped horns. Once widespread throughout Africa, populations have declined drastically due to habitat destruction, hunting, human settlement and competition with livestock for food. Each of the 8 hartebeest subspecies has a different conservation status. The bubal hartebeest was declared extinct by the IUCN in 1994. The Jackson's hartebeest, also known as the Lelwell hartebeest, found here in Murchison's National Park, is listed as endangered by the IUCN. Patas monkeys are the fastest primates on Earth, reaching speeds of up to 34 miles per hour. The conservation status of the Patas monkey is near threatened, although some sources regard it as being endangered. This is due to habitat loss, trapping and hunting for bushmeat, which has led to population decline. They live in groups primarily composed of females with a single male. Predators of this monkey include dogs, humans, hyenas, raptors and baboons. But it's not all doom and gloom, as Murchison Falls National Park is alive with some of the most vibrant and beautiful bird species. They are flourishing here, such as this gorgeous red bishop, which is perfectly adapted to grassland savanna habitat, and the stunning cinnamon-chested bee-eater. As the name suggests, they mainly eat flying insects, catching them on the wing, especially bees and wasps. The insect's stinger is removed by repeatedly hitting and rubbing the insect on a hard surface. What a fantastic Uganda safari. I'm here at the Kibale National Park in western Uganda, which covers 777 square kilometers. It's a protected forest in the district of Kemwenge. Now, this is home to 1,450 chimpanzees, and the chimpanzee is actually endangered on the IUCN Red List. So the fact that this place is protected is fantastic. Now, this is the primate capital of Africa, this park, which has 13 different species of primates. So hopefully I will get to see some chimpanzees. I'm going to trek them on foot and they can be elusive, but hopefully I'll get to see some. So let's go. Ben here is my guide, and he's also one of the rangers that protects the chimpanzees here, and there are 1,450 in this forest. Is that right? Now, Ben, he's an expert, so he's going to help me track the chimpanzees, which I'm dying to see. So Ben, tell me a little bit about your job and how long you've been doing it.
So, my name is Benson, one of the ranger guides in the Kibale National Park that is conserving these chimpanzees, both in tracking with the visitors and doing chimpanzee health monitoring team, knowing the chimpanzee status. Now making in 8 years in October, working with chimpanzees. I'm very happy to have received you in the Kibale National Park today.
Thank you, and let's go and see if we can find some chimpanzees.
Welcome.
Come on, let's go. I'll follow you.
Welcome.
Our chances of finding the chimpanzees were not looking good with the rain that started to fall. Chimpanzees hate the rain and won't come down from the trees to forage and play when it's wet and muddy. Suddenly, I got my first glimpse of the chimpanzees way up in the canopy. It was a really exciting moment.
We spotted some chimpanzees up in this tree where they are feeding on young fruits or the berries of the tree, and the chances of coming down right now, it is less because of the drizzling of the rainfall. We don't enjoy the bad weather.
So we've been trekking through the Kibale National Park in search of the chimpanzees, and I've just had my first sighting. It is absolutely incredible. These are East African chimpanzees. That's Pantroglodytes schweinfurthi, that's the Latin name, and I cannot wait to see if we can get even closer and really observe these creatures in their natural habitat. Absolutely incredible. Gradually the rain began to stop, but the chimpanzees remained ever elusive in the forest canopy, teasing me with a cheeky glimpse here and there, but their presence could be felt all around me. We've just heard them in the trees fighting over a female that has come on heat, and you could see the leaves falling down. You could hear the ruckus and them calling to each other and communicating. Spectacular, absolutely amazing. I cannot wait, and it shows that we're getting closer. Eventually the sun shone through, greatly increasing my chances of the chimpanzees coming down from the trees and showing off the vibrant colours of the jungle at the same time. So we found an alpha male knuckle print, and that's how the guides follow the chimpanzees through the forest and know where they're going. And you can see here the knuckles on the floor. Absolutely amazing. So hopefully that means we are close and we are going to see the East African chimpanzee in the wild. The guides communicate with each other through a whistling system and calling out to each other to let them know where the chimpanzees are in the forest. I was learning so much, and here's a fun fact. A group of chimpanzees is called a whoop. That's incredible. That's a baby screaming. So I know I'm close. They sound like they're right on top of me. That was amazing, and suddenly it's all quiet again, and you could see how they were all communicating and that baby was screaming. It was just like Planet of the Apes, just like the movies that I make, and to witness this in real life, absolutely incredible. And I can tell we're getting close, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a mask on, because one of the biggest threats to chimpanzees is disease, and they can very easily catch diseases from humans like COVID and Streptococcus pneumoniae that causes pneumonia. So any respiratory diseases, paramyxoviruses, all sorts, parasites like Cryptosporidium. So you really have to be careful, keep your distance, and essentially wear a mask. So in case I come across them on the ground, which I hope they do come down from the trees, I'm ready. So let's go. The trekking, waiting and persistence all at once came to fruition when Ruiza, a 21-year-old male chimpanzee, came down from the tree canopy. It was a privilege to be in the presence of such a majestic great ape. It was quite something to be there in the forest and face to face with humans' closest living relatives, especially now as it is estimated that there are only between 170,000 and 300,000 individual chimpanzees across its range. Nothing could have prepared me for the excitement that I felt walking in the forest with this endangered animal. It was so wonderful to be able to observe him in his natural habitat and everything I had hoped for. My goodness, this is insane. Oh my goodness. Chimpanzees share a surprising 98.8% of their DNA with us. This was an incredibly special moment, and everything I hoped my encounter with chimpanzees in the wild would be. This is an adult male, and an adult male can weigh 45 kilograms.
Make battles running. Move. Battles running.
Battery.
Don't make battles running, battles free. Don't miss it.
It was all beginning to kick off in the jungle, almost to the point of sensory overload. There I was, trekking a chimpanzee through the jungle in his natural habitat, observing his natural behavior, and then to see him display and show off to a female, it was the stuff my dreams were made of.
Oh, Alpha male is coming down. The Alpha male has come down.
Everything was happening at the same time. The leader of the chimpanzee troop, Mfuzi, a 31-year-old dominant male, was coming down from the trees, and my chance to get up close and personal with him. Absolutely incredible to be this close to an endangered species in the wild. Absolutely incredible. We're in the rainforest of Uganda, and these are native to the savannas and the rainforests of tropical Africa. Wow, this is bucket list stuff. What a privilege to spend the day with these endangered VIPs in the wild. A day of action, drama, and a colourful cast of characters. Now it's time to let the chimps kick back, relax, until the next time we meet. Day 6 of my Uganda safari, and I'm in the Queen Elizabeth National Park. It is shaping up beautifully. There is a lion behind me, and it doesn't get any better than this. It really is a slice of wild Africa where wildlife and humans coexist on a daily basis. You've got elephants walking into villages, you've got fishermen going out and fishing amongst hippos. Really very, very special. So much to see and so much wildlife right there. Lions are one of the biggest attractions in Queen Elizabeth National Park. Uganda is home to 400 lions, and about 130 lions can be found in this park. There are 3 African lions right below me. It's like the movie Beast, where Idris Elba won't get out of the vehicle, and I'm also terrified. And trust me, I won't be getting out of this vehicle because these guys could tear me apart. It's just like the movies I make, but this is real life. These are real lions, and this is what we make the movies about. I think she's starting to stir, so I'm gonna pull my head in.
The lion is listed as vulnerable on the International Union for Conservation of Nature Red List and has been since 1996 because populations in African countries have declined by about 43% since the early 1990s. Suddenly the lions were on the move and preparing to hunt. They were stalking 2 buffalo right in front of me, and I thought I might just have a front row seat at an attempted kill. The one golden rule on safari is to be quiet and patient. But unfortunately there was a great deal of noise. My safari guide was constantly on the phone telling other tour operators that cars were getting stuck in the mud in the area where the lions were located due to heavy rains earlier that morning. A lot of vehicles were wheel spinning and turning engines on and off constantly, which was very distracting for the lions. It was chaos, and certainly not optimal conditions for the lions to make a kill. There were far too many distractions, with human presence alerting the buffalo to potential foreign dangers. It was a really good example of how human activities with increasing amounts of safari traffic can really directly affect the animals. Engines were revving, wheels were spinning in the mud, and at one point, a safari vehicle even went off track right into the path of the hunting lions.
So we're waiting to move to get past the lions, but there's a lot of mud and we've been sliding further into it as we've been stationary. And now there's a bit of a backlog behind me, as you'll see. A traffic jam in the Queen Elizabeth Park. Who'd have thought?
Fortunately for the lions, they were able to feast on a previous kill, making sure they picked all the meat off the carcass and stripping it bare. On safari, you are surrounded by life and death, a constant reminder of the daily struggle for survival. Sometimes the clash of human activity and wildlife has deadly consequences, and the greatest threat to these lions is the community that lives close to the park. Recently, a number of lions were found dead as a result of poisoning, and it is suspected that the lions were poisoned by farmers who had lost their domestic cattle to the lions. As a result, some individuals within the community have resorted to setting up traps and snares and poisoning the big cats. The park does compensate locals whenever they lose livestock to the lions and arranges for community sensitization meetings emphasizing the importance of the lions to the people and the prosperity of the community. The Uganda Carnivore Project introduced the lion tracking experience within Queen Elizabeth National Park to help raise funds for lion conservation. Lions and other park animals frequently wander outside park boundaries, eventually coming into contact with human communities. The Uganda Wildlife Authority has tried hard to ensure that there is a harmonious relationship between communities living near the park and the park animals. It strives to ensure that communities benefit economically through tourism, through direct employment, and giving back 20% of the money from tourism to the community.
Just meters from the road is this beautiful bull elephant that is literally meters away. That can only be 5 meters. And it's incredible to be able to get this close to African wildlife. This place is insane. I'm absolutely loving it. Uganda is so unique in that respect. And wow, he's right there.
Queen Elizabeth National Park covers 1,978 square kilometres and is the second biggest national park in Uganda. Boasting more than 600 species, it has the greatest biodiversity of any protected area in Uganda. Not only is it the home of the endangered leopard, but the park is also rich in bird life. featuring the dulcet tones of the yellow-throated longclaw, the regal headdress of the long-crested eagle, the majesty of the African fish eagle, and the curious hammerkop, which is the smallest African stork. These birds are famous for the strong three-tiered nests up to 6 foot high and 6 foot wide, as seen here placed in a tree fork. Such a structure can take 3 to 4 months to build.
We were just driving through the village and suddenly there's a hippo on the side of the road munching on the bushes. You never know what you're going to see here, but this is really quite special how humans and wildlife coexist. And it must be very difficult at times, but there are villages here, there's shops, there's communities, and yet you've got a hippo wandering through it. Very strange, but brilliant at the same time.
One of the key challenges to conservation in and around the Queen Elizabeth Protected Area is human-wildlife conflict. Approximately 56% of households in communities adjacent to this area spend time guarding their gardens from crop damage by elephants and other animals. There was an incident as recently as July 2023 where a man carrying matuk on a motorcycle through the park to Kazinga fishing landing narrowly escaped being eaten by lions. I've witnessed and documented firsthand how this could happen so easily where motorbikes carrying merchandise venture right through lion country. As the Uganda Wildlife Authority takes steps to address human-wildlife conflict in Queen Elizabeth National Park, it remains vital to foster collaboration and understanding between conservation efforts and local communities to ensure the preservation of this precious ecosystem.
This is day 7 of my Uganda safari and I'm on my way to Bwindi Impenetrable Forest, which is 321 square kilometers of national park and home to the mountain gorilla. So I'm really hoping that I get to see them in their natural habitat. It's very exciting and the scenery's changing, the climate's getting cooler and I'm getting higher into the mountains. So come with me as I try and find the mountain gorilla. So this is my guide and ranger for today, Alicia Custom. So what do you think our chances are of seeing the gorillas in the forest?
Well, the chance of seeing gorillas is 50%. Reason being, we don't have appointment with them. We are just visiting them. Remember, there's no tracking device within them. The family we are tracking today, it is still under habituation, under training to get used to human.
So am I part of the training then today?
So you are part of the training. You are going to participate in this activity to train them, to habituate them, to tame them, to get used to human, to get human as a friend.
And is that so you can research them and follow their behavior and understand them better?
Yes. The more time you stay with them, the more you study their behaviors, how they behave, how they conduct themselves, and the more we stay with them in their natural habitat, the more they get used to human.
And the money that you pay for the permits, that goes towards their conservation, is that correct?
Yes, it goes to the conservation and it also helps in improving the livelihood of the local communities and also improving the social services within the country.
Fantastic. Right, let's go and see if we can find some gorillas. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, here we go. Good.
So this is where my gorilla trekking starts. I'm in the Bwindi forest and I'm currently about 1,800 meters above sea level. We've sent the guides ahead to look for signs of the gorillas, but hopefully we will see them. There are only 1,063 gorillas left on the planet. Imagine that, that is absolutely devastating. But the good news is numbers are increasing. So our chances of seeing them are even better, which is great, and I can't wait. This is real bucket list stuff, so come with me.
It's an extremely steep and physical climb into the mountains to meet the gorillas, so you must be prepared for an intensive trek. Be sure-footed and determined to make your way through the dense jungle flora.
So we know we're on the right route because we found one of the gorillas' favourite fruits, which is Carapa grandiflora, and they love this. It's a bit like avocado for us, although I don't think I'd want to eat it. So hopefully we will find one of the 21 troops that live in the impenetrable Bwindi Forest. So we'll keep going and keep searching. So we've come across gorilla poo, which is fantastic, and it's really fresh. So it shows that we're on the right track, tracking the family in the forest. So let's go.
It wasn't long before we saw twitching in the bushes and conclusive signs that the gorillas were merely meters ahead of us. Seeing gorillas in the wild in their natural habitat is something I've wanted to do my entire adult life. Ever since watching the movie Gorillas in the Mist, I've been enamored with this great ape, and to finally see them for the very first time through the bushes was a moment I will never forget. And it wasn't long before the reality of being amongst wild animals was brought home as the silverback made his dominant presence known. We continued to keep our distance from the gorillas until they became comfortable with our presence. Only then could we make our way into the forest clearing where they were feeding and resting.
This is the Bwindi group, and there are 459 gorillas in Uganda out of the 1,063 that are left on the planet. So they do have a fair share, which is great, and so amazing to be able to get up close and personal with them. This is Kawarata. He's the silverback of the group, and he's responsible for looking after them all. He's absolutely beautiful. They will spend half their day foraging for food, but right now they're just resting and taking their time, which is fantastic for us because we get to take some footage and some pictures. But wow, he is a spectacular specimen. I'm very lucky indeed. This is definitely bucket list stuff.
This group of gorillas is named after the area from which they originated and is made up of 10 members. 1 silverback, the boss, 1 blackback sub-adult male, 5 females, and 3 juveniles. Blackbacks are young adult males between 8 and 12 years of age. Then from 12 to 14 years old, they develop a silver section of hair over their lower back and hips, earning them the name silverbacks. There can be multiple silverbacks within a troop, but there is usually one male that dominates over all the gorillas, except in the very rare instance of a matriarch-led troop.
It's amazing to be so close to these creatures in the wild. They are just meters away. That's a huge blackback sub-adult male, and he could rip me apart, and he's right there. The main threats to these gorillas now are humans through civil war, conflict, also poaching. Numbers have been decimated in the past, but disease is also rife, and babies below 2 years, their life is really in the balance as to whether they're going to make it. Once they get past 2 years, then things look a little brighter, but lots of diseases can affect them. Parasites like Cryptosporidium, Microsporidia, and respiratory diseases like COVID-19. We can also transmit that to great apes, as we are also great apes, and we share 98% of our DNA with these creatures. The rangers make a noise like which is calming the gorillas and reassuring them that our presence is not threatening in any way. He looks pretty relaxed. I mean, this is real life stuff. Gorillas in the Mist, which was based on Diane Fossey and her 18-year career of documenting the behavior of these creatures. But this is the real thing. This isn't a movie, and it's really spectacular for me to be able to live the real thing rather than making Planet of the Apes like I do and all the other science fiction stuff. But this is the real deal. And Diane Fossey was instrumental in implementing the first conservation step by implementing foot patrols to keep these gorillas safe. So we owe her a great deal of gratitude for that. This fully grown silverback male probably weighs between 200 and 250 kilograms. And he's busy feeding, having his lunch in the forest. But I cannot believe I'm just meters away from this majestic beast. Absolutely incredible. Wow.
Spending time with these great apes in their natural habitat and observing and learning about the gorillas was truly inspiring. One of the most fascinating facts I learnt was that scientists use gorilla noses to help tell them apart. Like the human fingerprint, each mountain gorilla nose print is unique to that individual. Grooming is an excellent way for gorillas to clean themselves and others in the troop. It is also a way to form and strengthen social bonds between individuals in primate societies. It was wonderful to be able to observe natural gorilla behavior in the wild, and it certainly supports the concept of habituation in order to be able to research and study these great apes at close quarters to help understand their needs and behavior to secure them a future on our planet and hopefully assist in the regeneration of their population growth. The Uganda Wildlife Authority provides education programs to highlight the importance of these mountain gorillas and encourages local communities to support gorilla conservation, with 20% of the entrance fee going directly back into the community. Ecotourism and research have been widely promoted as a means of providing alternative value for apes and their habitats. There is strong evidence that research presence has had a positive effect in suppressing poaching around research sites. However, close contact between humans and habituated apes during tourism and research have raised concerns of disease transmission risks. These observations illustrate the challenge of maximizing the benefit of research and tourism to great apes while minimizing the negative side effects.
Well, Alicia, that was incredible. I can't believe that we got so close to the gorillas, and to watch them in their natural habitat was a real privilege. Were we lucky today?
Today we have been very lucky. Reason being, we got them while they are resting. Sometimes when you follow them, you can end the whole 4 hours following them. You don't take chance of taking pictures. Sometimes you can get them upstairs in the trees. Sometimes they keep moving, but today we have been very lucky. The weather has been very perfect.
Oh, yeah.
No rainfall. We got them very clearly and in high open vegetation. So they were very cool, so you have been very lucky today.
Thank you. Well, it was your expert tracking that found them, but at one point they did go into the forest, didn't they?
Yeah.
And we had to hike for quite some time and we just couldn't find them. So if that had been the case when we first arrived, we may never have seen them or just caught a glimpse of them. So we were so lucky. They were right out in the open.
Very lucky. That's why I told you, whenever you visit Africa and you don't visit the Pearl of Africa to see gorillas, you will have not visited Uganda or the Pearl of Africa.
Well,
so you have been very lucky today, and I think you are born lucky.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Team Gorilla.
Thank you so much. Tell me the message you are taking at home.
When I get home, I'm going to tell everyone about it.
Okay.
And get them to come to Uganda and do the gorilla tracking.
Please, please.
I will do.
Friends come and see gorillas. And today, I am appointing you as our gorilla ambassador.
Oh, thank you very much.
Come to Uganda and share with them experiences, show them the pictures and the videos.
Because these experiences, they do change people's perceptions of the wildlife, and these up close and personal experiences will change their perception, and they then go on to learn about these animals, love these animals, figure out what the problems are facing these creatures on the ground, and then we can take action. All together we can make the world a better place, right?
And even yourself, this shouldn't be your last time. Come back again. Sometimes people say it's the once in lifetimes. It can't be once in a lifetime. You can see them 100 times. For me, I have stayed with gorillas for 10 years with gorillas.
10 years, okay.
So, and I love staying with them, and this is my office, as you can see. How beautiful it is.
This is the best office in the world. You have the best job in the world.
And this is my laptop. You can see how it looks like.
Very unusual laptop. Thanks again. Thank you for a great trip.
Please take them at home.
Thank you.
It has been a very good day with you, and thank you for being a strongest conservationist.
Thank you very much.
Good.
I'm on day 9 of my Uganda safari, and behind me is a waterhole full of zebra. Mburo National Park is absolutely incredible. To get this up close and personal with African wildlife is something completely special, and it's everything I thought that Uganda would be. It certainly has delivered, and I know why now they call it the Pearl of Africa. It is very special, and there's a hippo right there in the water hole to the side of me. It's got everything, this place, absolutely everything. Mburo National Park is called the zebra magnet. These are plain zebra, and they are just everywhere in this park. This is Africa at its finest. This experience in Mburo National Park is brilliant. The way that you can track the animals on foot and get this close to African wildlife. I can't quite believe it. It's so amazing. These Nubian giraffes used to be called Rothschild's giraffe, and the Nubian giraffe is a subspecies of the northern giraffe. This is Giraffa camelopardalis camelopardalis. All the babies here are around the same age, and they usually start most of their breeding in September, so they're all born around the same time, and the calves can suckle from any of the females, which creates these cohesive bonds within the tower of giraffes, as the group is known, and so they really are bonded. The little cones on the top of its head are called ossicones. The females have their ossicones covered in fur. They are made of ossified cartilage, which is very different to bone, like a rhino horn. This is an adolescent male, and he still has a lot of fur on his ossicones because he hasn't started fighting a lot yet. And when they do, they fight with their necks, and that's called necking, and that will scrape off the fur. So at the moment he's not doing that, so he's got lots of fur on his ossicones, and he's a beautiful specimen. This little baby giraffe here, you can see it was scratching its neck on the tree because they have a lot of ticks on them, so it makes them feel much more comfortable if they can have a good old scratch. So they use the trees or the bushes to do that. There's giraffe everywhere. There are over 2,000 giraffes in Uganda. It's a conservation success story. This is the tallest giraffe in the world, and they're really distinct. You can see their coats. They're very dark brown, orange, patches surrounded by the beige, and it's very distinct of this subspecies. Absolutely beautiful. The males can grow up to 20 feet tall and weigh 3,600 pounds. That's massive. And to be up close and personal with them, walking in the grass savanna, which they absolutely love, is a real dream come true for me. Wow. To be this close to a giraffe in the wild, in their natural habitat, wow. That's all I can say.
Working as a professional stuntman, I make movies about dinosaurs and reimagine creatures from a bygone age. As you can see here, my role as smuggler in the film Jurassic World Dominion, releasing the dinosaurs and unleashing havoc on the human race. But there is a Jurassic bird that still exists on our planet today. Bwindi rex, or the Shoebill stork as it is more commonly known. Its Latin name is indicative of its dinosaur forebearers, and I desperately wanted to have an encounter with this dinosaur bird, which has its origins dating as far back as 29 million years ago, and it's said to evolve from the ferocious T-Rex.
So today, I'm having breakfast and it's the last day of my Uganda safari. It's a beautiful sunrise and I'm sorting up on my Uganda birds for the swamp trip that I'm doing this morning because I really want to see the Shoebill stork. It's one of my favorite looking birds and there are only 1,000 in Uganda, so I'm hoping that today I'll be lucky enough to actually find one.
The Mbamba swamp is located just 12 kilometers from Entebbe and is home to over 300 bird species, including the prehistoric giant I was searching for. The swamp is named after the lungfish, which inhabit the waters and are the staple of the shoebill's diet. Local fishermen also rely on catching lungfish, leading to tension, and as a result, fishermen killed the shoebill stork and destroyed their nests. The stork is listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species, and has forged a partnership between fishing communities and the shoebill. Conservation projects empower local communities to create income through providing tours for travelers like myself, sharing the knowledge of the swamp, and part of the revenue from the tours is reinvested into conservation projects which protect the shoebill.
So we're driving through the swamps trying to find the Shoebill stork, which will be the ultimate for me and to finish my Uganda safari. It's an incredible bird. It looks like a dinosaur and I make movies about dinosaurs, so to see this in real life will be an absolute ultimate goal.
The mighty Bwindi rex is a wading bird that roams the impenetrable swamps and marshes of tropical Central Africa. My quest was made even more exciting by the plethora of other beautiful bird species I found along the way, emphasizing just what an important habitat and ecosystem these swamps and marshes are. A royal welcome was given to me by the stunning malachite kingfisher, widely distributed in Africa south of the Sahara, and is common to reeds and aquatic vegetation near slow-moving water or ponds. The little egret is a very elegant species of small heron. It's a beautiful white bird with a slender black beak, long black legs, and in the western race, yellow feet, which can be clearly seen here. The pied kingfisher is a very common species found in the Ugandan swamps. It's a very distinctive bird with its black and white plumage. The crest and crown on the males are dark with a white streak above the eye. The males have a double band across the breast, while females only have a single broken breast band, seen clearly here. The purple heron also inhabits these marshes and is identified by its long bill, narrow body and wings, orange head and neck, black plumed cap and chestnut belly. Also abundant in the swamp is the African open-billed stork, which has a uniquely shaped bill that creates a diagnostic gap between the two halves of its bill. The purple swamp hen is also unmistakable with its dark violet plumage and red frontal shield and bill. The Senegal cuckoo also makes its home here in this grassy habitat, alongside the long-tailed cormorant with its beady red eyes, and the African jacana, able to walk on floating vegetation due to its long toes and claws. So I continued my search for the elusive Jurassic bird through the winding channels of the Mbamba. Then all at once the swamp produced a miraculous dividend. In the distance we spotted a huge grey bird motionless in the reed bed. Yes, we'd found the dinosaur bird, the shoebill stork, and it was everything I'd hoped for. Success! We have found the shoebill stork. This is the ultimate for me and completes my Uganda safari. To see this bird in its natural habitat in the wild, absolutely amazing. There are only 1,000 of these birds here in Uganda. And to see this, yes, this completes my trip. This prehistoric creature beyond the realm of imagination and beast of unparalleled antiquity gets its name due to its large shoe-shaped bill. Its genus is derived from the Latin words balena meaning whale and caput meaning head, giving rise to its nicknames the whale-headed stork or whale-billed stork. It is said that shoebills are thought to have evolved from carnivorous dinosaurs called theropods, which the Tyrannosaurus rex belongs to. But the closest living relative to this prehistoric animal is the hammerkop. Their bill is straw-coloured with greyish markings of bony keratin, and it is the third largest among all existing avian species, surpassed only by the pelican and marabou stork. It has distinct blue-grey plumage with darker slate-grey flight feathers. Although their diet is predominantly made up of fish, they are also known to feast on a range of wetland vertebrates including frogs, monitor lizards, snakes and juvenile crocodiles. They are also known to eat turtles, rodents and snails. The shoebill cleverly hunts in poorly oxygenated water, where its prey are forced to surface for air, making easy pickings. Beautiful. Evolution has equipped this bird with long splayed toes and claws, dispersing weight over the largest possible surface area, enabling it to make its home on floating vegetation and stand perfectly still waiting for prey hunting in the swamp marshes. The shoebill stands at the dizzy heights of up to 5 feet tall, with a wingspan of up to 8 meters. Shoebill storks form pairs only for the breeding season. The female lays 1 to 3 eggs, incubated by both parents for around 30 days, but typically they only focus on one chick, and any others that hatch usually perish. These birds can live up to 36 years in their natural habitat and 50 years in captivity. However, they face grave dangers in their continued existence, with habitat loss, disturbance and hunting. Latest estimates suggest there are only 5,000 to 8,000 individuals left in the world, and their overall population is declining. Let's hope we can turn things around and it's not too late for this bastion of another age.